Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and I've got a weird one for you. This is a brew challenge from Patreon subscriber Lux Ferris, who wanted me to brew in Legacy around Inspirational All-Star from Magic's past, Zur's Weirding. 3 and a blue enchantment. Players play with their hands revealed. If a player would draw a card, they reveal it instead. Then any other player may pay 2 life. If a player does, put that card into its owner's graveyard, otherwise that player draws a card. This card was originally in Ice Age, and I was genuinely shattered to learn that the Ice Age art doesn't exist on Magic Online. It only exists in 8th and 9th edition, which also bummed me out because Card Hoarder generally doesn't allow foils to go out in their loan program, which is how I get all my cards. So I had to go into the marketplace and purchase the Black Border version because I just couldn't disrespect the main engine of the deck in that fashion. So we've got Black Border Foil 8th Edition Zur's Weirdings here. This is a card that I owned from Ice Age when I was a kid. It was just randomly in a pack that I opened or a pile of cards that I got somehow. I definitely remember owning 1 copy of this card. And my memory of it at the time was, there's a lot of words on this. Eyes glaze over when I read it. Not interested, no thank you. Luckily, the Oracle text is a lot cleaner, and I'm a grown-up now, so my reading comprehension is higher. But this is a card that has inspired a lot of brews over the years. How do we break this? How do we create a deck around this? I've certainly seen it in EDH decks. It's deeply inspirational. When you read a card like this, you're like, okay, what do we do with it? Because if you can resolve Zur's Weirding when you're ahead or at parity with more life than your opponent, there's a good chance you're going to win the game. Or you can go even deeper and find a way to gain life while not caring about your own draw step, and then your opponent never draws a card again. Or there's ways to circumvent card draw, so you're putting cards in your hand without actually drawing them. Cards like Abundance do that. That's one of the old combos with Zur's Weirding. You replace your draw where they put a card in your hand. But here's what I did with it today. Bloodchief Ascension. 1 black enchantment from Zendikar. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, put a quest counter on Bloodchief Ascension. And then if Ascension has 3 or more quest counters on it, whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life and they lose 2 life. The trick here is that not only when you're quested up can you replace every draw for free, because you pay 2 life, they mill the card, and then it went into their graveyard, so you gain 2 life and they lose 2 life. They die eventually, and you maintain your same life total. But also, Zur's Weirding conveniently costs 2 life, so if you get Bloodchief Ascension down, even if you're not quested up, anytime they replace one of your draws with paying 2 life, the quest grows. Zur's Weirding both helps you achieve the quest and then helps you be an effective Bloodchief once you ascend. That's what we're working towards in this deck. How we get there is the hard part, because this is Legacy. It's a highly powerful format, and what are we talking about by resolving a 1 mana do nothing and a 4 mana maybe it works if we're ahead or at parity? How are we going to get there? I have tucked it into tasty little blue-black mid-range kind of shell. Thoughtseize, Hymn to Tarak, and Liliana of the Veil all keep your opponent's options limited. Force of Will's in the mix as well. Baleful Strix controls the board while getting you card advantage. We've got Fatal Push and Sudden Edict and Liliana of the Veil doing double duty to keep the board clear. Brainstorm and Ponder are in the mix to help find our pieces or get us where we need to go, get us stable. Brazen Borrower, of course, generic catch-all answer to stuff. All these cards should look familiar if you play Legacy at all. the Stranger decisions in the deck, search for his Kanta. This is a way to put cards in your hand without drawing them, and it gives you card selection in the meantime. And Siphon Life, which is somehow, this is not the first time that I've registered Siphon Life in a Legacy deck on this channel. It is the second, though. It's just weird that it happens twice. Target player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life with Retrace. So if you were to have Zur's Weirding in play, the cards that your opponent is likely giving you are lands. And Siphon Life is a card you can pass from your graveyard by discarding a land. This is kind of a very ugly, scrappy win condition in a fair Zur's Weirding situation. It conveniently also, lose 2 life, gain 2 life, takes away 1 card denial from your opponent and gains 1 card denial for you. And, of course, it triggers Bloodchief Ascension. If you're not ascended to a Bloodchief yet, it helps you get there. Suspicious technology, but I wanted at least one thing that functions out of the graveyard, but I didn't want to go totally down that road. All in all, this is a pretty honest execution of the Bloodchief Weirding combo shell. I could have gone super deep with Abundance. There's also Words of Wisdom, which you can replace your draw step to gain 5 life, so your opponent never gets a chance to deny you a card because you're already doing it to yourself. You gain 5, then pay 2 for every card they draw. You're basically gaining 3 life per turn cycle until you're happily in control, and then you can start trying to draw cards. There's other ways you could go. This could have been 3 colors, could have been 4 colors, could have been an Enchantress shell, could have been a lot of things. But I went here instead because I like simplicity and I like blue and black cards. The sideboard is just good cards in the blue and black colors. We do get to play back to basics. We have 6 basic lands in the deck we can fetch. Mostly this is just cards you'd expect. I drew heavily from both Ninjas and Death Shadow, which are the 2 blue-black decks in the format, to Frankenstein a sideboard together here. Cards that are not in the deck, Snuff Out is one of the most efficient removal spells in the format. It's in a lot of black decks right now, but Zur's Weirding asks you to pay life, and I don't want to get to a spot where I have the Weirding hooks in, but I'm at 6 or whatever, and I can only deny 2 card draws. That's not how I want to do this. I want my life total to be big and flush, and when we get here, I want to be able to deny a lot of options as we get the rest of the hooks in. Dark Confidant is not in the deck for the same reason, although it is a playable black card that puts cards in your hand without drawing them. Yuriko would have been a delight in this deck, but you'd have to rebuild it to play a larger number of creatures. Just 4 Strixes is not enough to support Yuriko. The numbers of Ascensions and Weirdings are things that I'm going to be looking at. I could see a world where 2 is the right number of Weirdings, because you don't really want to see this card until you have 4 mana and your hooks in. But it does pitch to Force, so it's not like the Abyss or Nether Void or some other 4 mana enchantment that you really don't want to see until it's time. And if you only had 1 or 2 in the deck, you'd feel bad pitching them to Force. So I think 3 is responsible. 3 on the Ascension as well. Ascension is highly susceptible to Prismatic Ending in this format. I do want more than 1 of these, and I don't mind seeing them. They also stack. They give you Ascend to a Bloodchief twice. It's not legendary or anything, and you can drain for 4 every time a card hits the bin. I don't mind having 2 of those. And that's the deck. Those are my thoughts about the building process. Lux Varus, this is your Zur's Weirding blue-black prison deck. Let's go. I'm on the draw in round 1, and I have this weird curve of Bloodchief Ascension into search for his Kanta, Brainstorms in this hand, and Brazen Bar can interact. I'll keep. This is not the Thoughtseize Hymn to Tarak I'm looking for in an opening hand, but I'm down with it. Let's go. My opponent mulled to 5, and they have Grizzlebrand as their avatar, so I'm a little concerned right now. Okay. Kind of like seeing this Volcanic Island. That means it's probably not Reanimator. It could be Show and Tell. I'm going to deploy the Ascension. Let's go. Go ahead, tap an Ancient Tomb. I'll show you what's what. I would very much like to find a Thoughtseize. Yeah, they're definitely a combo deck, and they mulled to 5, and looks like I'm going to miss the boat on this one. Please cast Sneak Attack, please cast Sneak Attack, please cast Sneak Attack. Iruth. Oh, we're Iruthing. I'm so jealous right now. Okay. Do you have nuts? Are you going to keep going? Or do I get to Brazen Borrow this and move forward? So the chief does ascend. If I draw fetch land, we're going nuts. I did not draw fetch land, so I'm going to Brazen Borrow instead. Try to send her back. Slow that down a little bit. I've played Iruth decks on the channel before. I know what's going on here. The classic legacy matchup. Zur's Weirding versus Iruth. Iruth does replace your draws with exile 2 cards, so they are basically like already pre-boarded against me on their face-up strategy. They gambled and Burning Wish hit the graveyard, and then they missed their land drop. Don't know what all that means for me. I think I want to brainstorm here. If I can get some discard going, their hand is bad. All right, Force of Will, I'm into. Put Urborg and Fatal Push on top of the deck, and then play Strix or play Search. Ooh. I could go Strix on top with Urborg under it, play Search, and start digging. This Fatal Push isn't good until it is good, which is a stupid thing to say, but is also true. I'm gonna play Search for Azcanta here, and probably mill the Fatal Push, because I'm not close to getting Revolt in any kind of way. Lotus Petal. 2 cards left in their hand. I'm gonna force this, and they're gonna ascend my Bloodchief again. We're almost there. We're almost ascended. I had to use Lotus Petal on both of those. That's really shitty for them. Like to surveil, Fatal Push into the graveyard. I draw Urborg for turn. Urborg might help them by turning Ancient Tomb into a different land. But if I play 2 Strixes and attack next turn, I will ascend to being a Bloodchief. And then they're going to have to do whatever it is they do without putting 7 cards in their graveyard. Oh, sick. I'm going to do this. I am going to play my land out, and then I'll Thoughtseize you. Defense Grid and Lion's Eye Diamond. I'm taking the Lion's Eye Diamond. I don't give a shit about Defense Grid. So they can cast it now without taking 2 because of my Urborg, which I'm sure they will because it's free to do. Oh, there's that. Second Search for Azcanta into the graveyard. That one is a legend. If either of my top 2 cards are a blue source, I can play Brazen Borrower, and I'm attacking for 5 a turn. If I draw Siphon Life, I'm just slamming it. Turn on the Ascension. Sudden Edict. Okay, not helpful now, but knowing they're in a Ruth deck and I'm at up to 5 mana, this is a meaningful piece of interaction. Shatterskull smashing. If they smash it in, I'm a Bloodchief. Did not smash it in. Oh, Siphon Life, what's up? I'm going to put this in the graveyard. I can just attack and become a Bloodchief now. I don't need to do all that. Yeah, scoop to the Ascension. Let's go. Okay, we're playing this Iruth combo. Hydroblast, for sure. They're a gamble deck. They are a dedicated Storm deck. Null Rod comes in. I don't know if I want Surgical. Probably want Flusterstorm. Oppo and Ashiok are both very tempting. Rock Dread Cantor. Fatal Push is tricky because it's bad until it's good. Like, it was really bad that game, but I can see situations where I just fetch pick off the Iruth and we win. Bringing in a ton of interaction. Liliana is a discard spell, but I'm bringing in better cards. I don't think I'm going to have to Siphon Life this opponent. We're not going to get grindy like that. I love the Sudden Edict. I love all of the Hymns and Thoughtseizes. I am kind of looking at Fatal Push as a maybe. Like, Hydroblast is a upgrade to Fatal Push. I think I'm going to shave 1 Weirding as well. Just playing against a fast combo deck. Stability is phase 1, and I'll worry about getting weird in the late game. Press Down does turn off Iruth. Would that be better as Fatal Push? It's a blue card and a cantrip. And I can end step it in front of a defense grid to have a turn without Iruth in play. I think that might be better as Fatal Push. Okay, I'll bring one Fatal Push in. I could also bring in a Surgical, but I don't think that's where I want to be. They have Gamble and Ancient Tomb. We've seen Defense Grid. They do have like a Epic Gamble, Echo of Eons kind of thing in the deck. We saw the pieces to it. We saw the LED. Saw the Gamble. Aussie's Force of Will. Gimme. To me now. Having played Iruth more than once on the channel, I can say that she requires a lot to go right. She's a 3-mana setup piece, and she dies to every single card in the format. Hydroblast, Pyroblast, Swords to Plowshares, it just rack them up. If a card can be soft to something, Iruth is soft to it. Opponent mulled to 5 again. Pass the turn to me. Gonna get an Underground Sea and Thoughtseize them. I don't think they're gonna have a Blood Moon pivot, so I'm just gonna get perfect mana. Bergie, Gamble, Rite of Flame. Picking Bergie. Here's the Tomb. Here's Rite of Flame. Empty the Warrens. Okay, we're just making 4 Gobos. The messed up thing is I might not be able to beat this. Strix can trade for one of them. I can force the Empty now, leaving Gamble in their hand, and then they have a 2-turn line to gamble for something else. I have Edicts in the deck. Cut Liliana. Okay, I don't think I want to let them gamble for Echo and just go off. Ascension is one of my ways out of this if I can push through it. So I'm going to Brainstorm and then probably cast Ascension. Oh, Brazen Borrower, Sudden Edict, Baleful Strix. I have 3 of these things covered now. This Brainstorm didn't really go where I wanted it to. I think I'm going to put away Urborg and one of the forces. I'll fetch a sea, play Bloodchief Ascension, and dare them to tap their Ancient Tomb. Brainstorm is fine. Traders, okay. That's not a shuffle effect. They do get a good attack here. Cool, now I can Strix and Ponder. Siphon Life would be so good right now. Okay, I now have 4 removal spells for their 4 goblins. Maybe I'm not supposed to cast this Ponder. Okay, I found a grip full of blue cards, so we're fine. I'm gonna put this Flusterstorm in my hand, because pitching that to Force isn't that bad. They have so much mana, unlikely to successfully counter things with Flusterstorm at this point. Block, I go to 9. I kill one next turn, go to 7. I kill one the turn after that, go to 6, and then we're stable. Played a second Ancient Tomb, deleting their City of Traders. Sure. I'm not going to fight over a gamble. This is just an Entomb. They're going to put Echo in the graveyard. For sure. And I think I just pass. If they Echo, I Brazen Borrow, I Fluster, then Flusterstorm actually does get ahead of all their stuff. Yeah. Or I should Edict to keep... Oh no, I have Search. That's an extra blue card. I want Brazen Borrower. And there's another force on top of my deck right now. They're in the tank about how they're sequencing this turn. Tapped Ancient Tomb for Defense Grid. Shit. That's annoying. I guess I have to force this. It's fine. I'll send Search for Azcanta. And this guarantees that Flusterstorm gets the Echo, either this turn or next. Fluster this. Unfortunately, Bloodchief Ascension only cares if you've lost 2 or more life this turn. I don't get a counter for each 2 life they've lost. And I think I Sudden Edict rather than Borrow this turn, after all, because Borrower can target Iruth if they rip some other scary permanent. Sudden Edict only kills a goblin, basically no matter what. Okay, starting to become a Bloodchief. Force blue card. The Brazen Borrower in my hand is also a blue card for Force, if that becomes relevant. I'm going to stabilize at 5 here. Sudden Edict. If they could have made 6 goblins, they easily win this game. We're doing okay against 4. And they remain Hellbent. I'm drawing Wild for the first time. I'd love to see a blue card here. A Swamp. Didn't really want a Swamp. And do I have any reason to play the Swamp? I don't think so. I think I should take one from this goblin one more time, and then end step Brazen Bee. Oh, I should have played the swamp so a draw gets me hardcast force. I messed that up. That's grid. Okay. In that case, I'll bounce your goblin, and we're both hanging out. Baleful Strix. I am going to cast Brazen Borrower right now, and then I can hold up Forest Blue card for the rest of the game. I'm going to take this opportunity right now while they're hellbent. If they draw a gamble, they can get a spin. Let's hope they don't draw exactly gamble here. Cool. Okay, I've gotten to my turn. Forest Blue card is up. I'm going to start ascending to be a Bloodchief very quickly here. And I kind of expect a concession in the near future. If I draw a land, I get to him to Turok. Yeah, okay. Attack. Even if they drew a removal spell of some kind, they'd have to tap Ancient Tomb to do it, so I get to be a Bloodchief no matter what. And in this him would be good for 4 damage next turn, but I think they're dead anyway. Okay, I'm a Bloodchief now. If they gamble, they lose 2 life. Or they lose 4 life when they gamble. Okay. Yeah, take 4. And then I'll force the payoff. Do I even need to? Can I just let this happen? They have to tap Ancient Tomb to do this thing. Alright, busted. Legacy Magic card, Bloodchief Ascension. Good for 2 wins in the first league of the game. Sick. Opponent just said, it's perfect. And I said, yeah, it's the perfect classic Legacy matchup. On to the next one. Great showcase. Undefeated deck. Lifetime. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a tragic no-lander. We've got the hooks. I'll get in this one. Oh yeah, here we go. This one actually looks like a legacy deck. I'm going to keep this and put Fatal Push to the bottom. I don't know the matchup yet. I just want to try to hedge and immediately punished for putting Fatal Push on the bottom. Figured I already have 2 removal spells. I'm going to go basic Swamp Thoughtseize here. I do still have 2 removal spells, but knowing that they're exactly Delver, I would have kept Fatal Push. I'm not too bummed if they daze this. I'm pretty stoked if they force it. I'm also happy if it was also force and daze were the things you had. I'm going to take the force, because you can't daze Sudden Edict. And if your hand is daze and 2 lightning bolts, I get a lot of time to figure this out. Delver didn't flip, so we've got a land or a creature. What I don't want out of this hand right now is a second creature. Cool. Now I have a force. Okay. If I Sudden Edict, I get the opportunity to see what they're drawing for their turn, because Delver would show it to me, but because they have the fetch land, they could build their own scry. By looking at the card, and if they don't like it, they could get rid of it. And I would rather restrict their options than gain half a piece of information. And now I'm looking for land number 3 so I could get ahead of this day, start whipping hymns around. Shuffled the deck. Played a land. All right, let's go. Black Source. No love, but I will ponder and try to find one. Nice. Okay, the nuts. Found the Black Source, Baleful Strix under it, and Zur's Weirding waiting at the bottom. I'm not going to him into this face-up daze. I will force a Murktide Regent. I will not force a Ponder. Knowing they have 2 bolts in their hand and not knowing what him's going to take yet, I think I would have to force Murktide, even though I know I'm drawing Baleful Strix. Ponder did not shuffle, and they found a Wasteland. Keep making those land drops. Okay, let's chop it up a little bit. Him to Taraku. Start a course Lightning Bolt, so their hand is Dazed Lightning Bolt right now. I can work with that. Do know their top card, because they pondered and didn't shuffle last turn. Dr. RC. I think this is fine. I can Force of Will either Daze or Lightning Bolt if I want to. I could force both, in fact. I think I want to play Liliana and force the days. I mean, I don't want to, but I think this is the play that makes sense. Or I could play Strix, let them bolt it, and then next turn try to have land number 4 for Lily. Yeah, I can take 3. That's actually fine. I figured it out. Or I could fatal push it. Okay, lots of options here. Touching red in the end step, we're going to see the bolt. Bolt gets a surveil. It's fine. They milled a land. They're drawing wild. If I draw a land here, I'm slamming Liliana. A second DRC. That one's a bummer. So I can just force this. I think that's the play. Force pitching force. Yeah, I want to hold on to the weirding. Force pitching force on this. If I draw the land, Liliana's going to go nuts. If I don't draw the land, I'll just Fable push. Fatal push? Fable push. What is Fable push? That card sounds busted. I will brainstorm. I'm not quite ready for Zer's weirding. Oh, yikes. It's a lot of bad cards. But 2 weirdings on top. I'm going to push first, and I will invite them to daze my Bloodchief Ascension. Go nuts. Here. You want this? Hell yeah. Cool. They have gone Hellbent, and I have 2 Lilianas in hand. Let's do it. I kind of hope they do slam Murktide Regent. They have 1 card in their hand. I'm going to jam my Lily. Plus her out of bolt range. The second weirding on top of my deck. Minor missteps in the graveyard. Now, creatures are bad, but they have to play out anything they draw, or they just lose it. Unholy Heat is like a real card they could have. What the fuck is this 4 mana spell? Oh, it's just a Murktide and leaving their graveyard intact. That makes sense. Because they know it's going to die anyway. Fair play. Let's get rid of that. Okay, land number 4 is good. Got lots of options. If they overload this Liliana, I can minus again. And I have another. Delver. Okay. I think I want to ponder first. Found Fatal Push and a land. Okay. I'm going to draw the push. And do I cast it? If I cast, yeah, if I have plus Liliana, I discard the other Liliana. Sucks to be hardcore here, but this Liliana is ready to Edict if they draw a creature. She's ready to plus if they draw anything else. Does die to Lightning Bolt. Okay, cool. Now the hooks are in. My opponent has more life than me, but we'll figure it out. First appearance of Zer's weirding. It's on the stack, and it's going to resolve. We play with our hands revealed. Funny enough, we don't have those. Opponent taking a long pause to read this one. Plus Lily, she's now out of bolt range. And let's see how Magic Online resolves Zer's weirding. This is a thing I've never experienced. Okay, so they're fetching with Polluted Delta. Mystic Sanctuary can get back some spell. Chart a Course. Okay. So I see this Chart a Course, and then I see each card they draw with Chart a Course, and I can decide which ones they get to keep, if any. I'm just going to let them... Okay, so it goes into the Reeled. I am not going to pay 2 life to stop this. If they cast it, I get to see each card and decide if I care about it. Don't care about Bauble. Don't care about Daze. Because Liliana has all this Garbo under control anyway. I guess she doesn't really control Bauble. Alright, opponent, your turn. Do you care about Search for Azcanta? You probably should. That's a really fucking good one here. Did put Search in the graveyard. Each player discards a card. Liliana will eventually go ultimate and cause problems. The Bauble draw is a DRC. Liliana can minus on that. Brazen Borrower, I will pay 2 life to get rid of that. That's too many creatures. I have to be judicious with my life total because I don't have infinite life to work with. Polluted Delta is the draw. Sacrifice a creature. And we're back to this. Siphon Life is in my deck somewhere. I'm not going to pay 2 for a Wasteland. Ponder is on top of my deck. They can let me have that, and then pay 2 life if they care what I find with it. Oh, the Ascension. You have to care about this. All right, well, I will make them pay the 2 life. So this is the GG button. And they did pay the 2 life. Brainstorm, I don't care about this. I can care about every one of the pieces of Brainstorm. And if I pay 2 life on any of them, then they have to put back the other 2. I just don't care about any of this. The Bauble lets them have an extra card in their hand next turn, but this is all just redraws. And I don't care about these cards when Bauble draws them the next time around either. They're bobbling me now. I'm going to shuffle this. I don't want this card anyway. And is blue or black more important? I think it's black. And because they bobbled on my turn, Liliana will just eat this thing. Sudden Edict on top of my deck. Yep, you don't care about that. It's going to keep blessing. I know their next card is also bad. It's Volcanic Island. First Weirding does eat up a lot of clock on Magic Online. Into Turok, they're going to let me have that. Plus Liliana. Okay, she's almost ready. Don't care about Force of Will. Verdant Catacombs. Imagine they'll let me have that. Plus Lily. She can minus now if that becomes necessary. Not paying for Flooded Strand. Baleful Strix. You probably don't want to let me have that. Okay, Liliana. If I minus, I have to start caring about creatures and paying 2 life. I think I want to get her up to 9 before I minus. Because they have so many lands, it's not like I could really meaningfully take them off anything. Another Delta. They didn't play it. In discarding it. Force of Will's my draw. I'm sure they don't care about that. Okay, they did care about that. Deal. I guess if they think I can hold up Force and minus Liliana, then they would care about that a little bit. Don't care about Brainstorm. Show me what the Brainstorm's doing, then I'll respect it. Keep your Ponder, keep your Volcanic Island, keep your Daze. These have been some rough draws. So versus Liliana on 9, like what do you care about? Here's the Ponder they kept. And I've now caught up on life total. I am not going to put Lightning Bolt in the graveyard. If this goes at Liliana, right, it went at me. That's fine. I'm now back behind on life total. Underground Sea, you don't care about that. Liliana, I have to care about Lightning Bolt now, but they already used it, so I'm going to take a zap at all their permanents. Do they have 4 Volcanic Islands in play? Is this real? I'll just split these up 4 and 4. Hope this is being displayed correctly. I didn't think they had 8 lands. I thought they had 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I guess they did have 8. And I'll play out my Underground Sea because I'm going to start plussing Liliana immediately. And if they waste it, that's another thing they don't have. I will pay 2 life to put Chain Lightning in the graveyard, unfortunately. I only get 1 more of these. Misty Rainforest, they will not be. I'm just going to discard Misty. I'm not going to fetch with that this game. Get rid of it. Don't care about Force. Thoughtseize, they don't care about that. Plus Lily. This is good magic, by the way. Well, I have to pay 2 life on Lightning Bolt. I'm at 1. There's Weirding doesn't work anymore. Unless I find something good. Brazen Borrower, they're going to pay for that. That one's too good. Plus Lily. Okay, I mean, they get whatever this draw is. I hope it's a creature. Alright, Murktide Regent. I can beat that. And once again, they're paying maximum mana and least disruptive graveyard because they know it's just dead. Fatal Push on top of my deck. They let me have it. That's good because that's a bunch of creatures I don't have to care about now. Still care about that one, but not that I can do anything about it. And Liliana. So good. What I need is some draws my opponent cares about, so they start paying life again. There's Weirding. Yeah, they don't care about the second one of those, that's for sure. Okay, Murktide Regent's dead. Delver of Secrets, I have the Fatal Push for that. And the second Weirding is an easy discard to Liliana. Wasting my fetch land? Yeah, I mean, that's gonna work. I'm at 1. I don't care. I have so much mana that I think I just go to my turn and figure out what's going on here. Force of Will. I think they have to pay for this, actually. Yeah, because I have 6 mana. I can force their next play. And I have Zur's Weirding. Yeah. Push the Delver. Plus the Lily. I think I should have pushed in their upkeep this time. Because they don't have the fetch land. Oh, I get to see the card anyway. It doesn't matter. Liliana, conveniently on 3. On real card they have to pay for. Underground Sea. That's not it. Sack your Delver. I'm going to leave the Sea in my hand because Siphon Life is in my deck somewhere. And I have padding real spells against Liliana discard is relevant. Uh-oh. Can't pay for anything. There are still bolts in their deck. Please don't find one. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Oh no! And they can pay for a removal spell. Yeah, they got through it. Bummer. Brainstorm. And you might as well just pay, yeah. Okay. GG. They made it happen. 1 activation, or 0 activations left for each of us. They got through on 1 card. That was sick. What a delightful game of Magic. Okay, I'm playing against Delver. Plague Engineer. I think I want Ashiok Game Ender. I want Powder Keg. Flusterstorm and Hydroblast are good. I don't normally like back to basics versus Delver decks, but I'm playing a very different kind of thing than I normally do. We'll see what shakes loose here. I don't think I need all these Thought Seizes against Delver. I don't want to play to the board. There's a lot of cards. Force of Will is not bad because I'm kind of a combo deck, but it's also not good because they're a Delver deck. Pyroblast killing Zur's Weirding is a huge beating. Maybe I got 1 search for his Kanta and 1 back to basics for the flavor. They are better under Zur's Weirding than I am. I'm going to go down to 2 of that. -1 force, +1 back to basics, and then all this removal stuff. I could bring in Oppo as well and try to squeeze their options in a variety of ways. And Siphon Life would have won that game. That was sick. I still like him. I think I'm going to cut a force for a Thoughtseize back. That's just, it costs me 2 life, but it is more efficient interaction. Strix is one of my best cards. Okay, no Oppo this time. Okay, keep. I'm just going to swamp Thoughtseize them. See what they kept, see how to punch through it. Pyroblast, Brainstorm, Daze, Delver. Taking Delver. Not ready to answer a creature. I would have rather taken Brainstorm from that hand, but I'm just not prepared to do that. Volcanic Island. There is a wasteland over there I need to respect. This can be a basic, and here's the Bloodchief Ascension. Start the clock. This also would have won the last game if I resolved any of them. I did shove a Bloodchief Ascension into a Daze in game 1. It let the Liliana resolve, but maybe if I had just been more patient in general. Okay, they drew a creature. Disappointing. Lots of removal in the deck. Oh, sick. Well, I'll fetch a Swamp and him you, which might get you Delirium, but it also might let my Ponder resolve, and I do have a bunch of removal in my deck. Him you. They could Brainstorm in response to take the sting out of this. But also just let it happen. They could Daze to put a land somewhere in their hand. Articore's Brainstorm are what left. Okay. Those are the card selection things. Happy to see them go. And I'm left with perfect information. And I know perfectly that I cannot ponder into the Daze or the Pyroblast. Alright, deck. Plague Engineer. Let's go. Fatal Push. I don't hate. I'm going to cast one of these, because if I ponder, they're going to Pyroblast, and I'd rather them only surveil once. Oh wow, they didn't do it. They're saving that for something else. Probably the Zur's Weirding, actually. Okay, I can't Keg because they have Daze. I am worried about just firing off Sudden Edict and dying to Murktide Regent. There's a Ponder under here. Okay. I'm going to take the Sudden Edict. I'll play my land and pass. They're probably going to commit to the Wasteland here, and then I Sudden Edict them. My hand is full of Ponders. And I am going to snap off the Edict now before they can. If I like float black or float blue, and then they cast Ponder, they get extra value out of that. No thanks. Okay, Ponder. Is it time to Pyroblast this, or are you scared of Zer's weirding? Time to Pyroblast this. Okay. If they crack 2 fetch lands in a turn, I start to ascend. If they shock this in, oh, bummer. They read their own card. Disappointing. I hate when they do that. I can play Powder Keg now. I want this on 1, but that also kills my Ascension. But I can get it in under days now, so I'm going to do that. I'm playing Powder Keg over Ratchet Bomb because Powder Keg kills artifact lands. Ratchet Bomb kills all non-land permanents. Powder Keg only kills specifically certain types, but it does include lands. For hard casting days, I'll pay. Do we have double days? Do have double days, okay. Their hand is Volcanic Island right now, and my Powder Keg is in the graveyard. Maybe don't draw Murktide Regent. Okay. Bobble's okay. Deck, hook me up. How about a good one? Baleful Strix. Brazen Bar is a good one. Ponder. Ooh, these are all the cards I want. I'm going to pop Strix in my hand with Liliana under it and pass the turn. Wasteland. No love for that. I'm going to play Strix because Liliana gets dazed and I don't really want to discard the cards in my hand. Search for Azcanta is a little awkward because as soon as it flips, it's a target for Wasteland. But if it's in play, it's a value engine. Plague Engineer, hello. I'll drop a Search and begin the beatdowns. They tap 2. This looks like a Murktide. Do have multiple answers for this. I have Strix in play, Brazen Borrower, and Liliana in hand. And they know about the Brazen Borrower, which is relevant because they shoved this at full size when in previous games they had made it small when they knew it was going to die. I am going to... It's weird to bin the Brainstorm because it's so good, but also I'm kind of in the market for a land. I am actually going to graveyard the Brainstorm, and I'm not going to flip Azcanta because they have Wasteland. Rewarded with the land that I asked for. And they know about Brazen Borrower, so I could play around Pyroblast by dropping Liliana. I could also just cast the Brazen Borrower and try to manipulate this game into a spot where that's relevant. I'm actually just going to fetch Underground Sea now, fetching first place around days. And then I'm going to cast Liliana to play around Pyroblast. If it's Force Blue card, they were going to get me no matter what. But if it's Pyroblast, I get them now. Get in for 1. If they Wasteland me, I get to search for Azcanta, or I get to find Azcanta. Mystic Sanctuary with no target, wow. They ate them all to Murktide Regent last turn. Azcanta, what do you got for me? Force of Will. Do not want that card. And now I will flip Azcanta. If they waste it, I'll just activate it in response. The top 4 cards, I can get a non-creature, non-land. I'll take Force of Will and put some Strixes to the bottom. I'm just reducing their options here. Siphon Life! Okay, I'm gonna plus Liliana and discard Force of Will. Siphon Life will get the party going with Bloodchief Ascension. I could also just play a creature and start attacking. I got options. I just want Liliana on 2. I might not activate her again. They have a Wasteland. Yeah, she might just hang out on 2. Siphon Life. I think Plague Engineer is probably better. They have a Wasteland and didn't use it. That makes me think their hand is Force of Will. I'm actually going to plus Liliana to play around Force of Will, and I'll just discard the Siphon Life. Brazen Borrower in response. Okay, so now I have to discard something and they don't discard anything? Sure. Okay, I am still discarding Siphon Life. And now I can play Plague Engineer. And I am going to drop it on human. Dragon's Rage Channeler and Delver of Secrets are both humans. I have their Brazen Borrower covered a bunch of different ways, so I'm not in a hurry to name Fairy or Rogue. And I'm not going to attack for 1 either, because they can drop their Borrower right now. And I don't want to lose because I have slightly less life than them like I did in game 1. I also need to hurry up because I'm 4 minutes behind on my clock right now, and their deck's a lot better under Zer's weirding than mine, and that takes a long time to resolve. Okay, we're going to start ascending to a Bloodchief here. Attack for 2. The inevitable has begun. And then Liliana, not going to activate her. She's just going to sit and play on 3. She can edict the next thing. They're not dropping their Borrower. Ponder is fine. Choose not to shuffle. Brainstorm, you got it. This sees 2 of the same cards that Ponder saw, and 1 fresh one. They still know about Brazen Borrower from their bauble 1,000 years ago. Looks like a Murktide Regent, which I'm pleased with if true. Yep, you got it. I'm not going to Brazen Borrow this. I'm going to minus Liliana on it. Like, I could bounce it with Brazen B plus Liliana and still kill it. But I like all the cards in my hand, so I'm not in a hurry to plus my Liliana for any reason. Second Bloodchief. Continue our ascension. I can attack this turn because they can't Brazen Borrow. We're ascending and just trying to beat the clock here because I think this game is over. Attack with my creatures. And playing the other Liliana is the same as plussing Liliana. Like, I would discard Liliana to Liliana. And this way I get to actually have one in play. And I have Revolt. Like, I have one on higher loyalty in play, and I have Revolt. If they Brazen Borrow in this end step, I can push it, and they're going to lose 2 life. Because I will be ascended to a Bloodchief after all these triggers resolve. It'll push your creature. You lose 2 life, I gain 2 life. Bam. Gonna be hard to lose this one. Surgical Extraction, my Liliana's. Alright, they just want to look at this deck before they concede. They pay 2 life for Surgical, they lose 2 life when it hits the graveyard, and they're just out on board. So they're getting a little information fishing here. And I have to win game 3 minus 2 minutes on the clock. Okay, and Wasteland for style points. Okay, cool. They saw Back to Basics. They saw the weirdings. I mean, they saw that game 1. So it is useful to me to change my strategy a little bit here based on the fact that they just saw my whole deck. Opposition Agent does not get Pyroblasted. I think I want to go for as much black interaction as possible because of the Pyroblast. It was really nice to just play around that for most of last game. And Thoughtseize Pyroblast, play a busted blue card, is what dreams are made of. Okay, let's go. Time to play fast. Good to know they boarded in Surgical too. I can't count on Siphon Life to get the game 1. I am keeping this hand. Please cast Ponder. Bummer. Alright. And I have a bunch of basics and multiple Strixes. I'm going to try to punch a hole with Thoughtseize and then Strix up. Delver, 2 Murktides. I'll take the Delver. Ugh. Ponder's real good here. It gave them Delirium immediately. Plus, you know, they get to resolve a Ponder. This powers up the Murktides. And the good news is, if they absolutely roll me, then I don't have to worry about my clock. Strix is in, him to Tarox with it. Don't know if that helps, but it's there. There's the other Flooded Strand. There's a Delver. They could just pile on the creatures this turn. Easy trade. They can jam Murktide, but they didn't? Okay. I think I want to him to Tarox this hand with 2 Murktides in it. I'll take my chances against the Delver once I soften you up. I played around Daze. I could have had a full value Brainstorm there, but I don't want any of my spells to be dazed. Force of Negation, pitching a Murktide. Okay. They like the other one enough to keep it. Fair enough. Delver flips revealing Brainstorm. They're just in the nut zone here, which is a real Magic zone. Don't look it up. Fetch. Fetch. Sure, we'll see a Murktide here, and they have one spicy card left in their hand. Okay, Sudden Edict is an absolute banger. I'm going to play my Strix, and I'll pass. Okay, the black removal is lining up pretty well. If they have a removal spell for Strix, I'm in trouble. Hate that for me. So I have to Edict here in combat. I take 7, go to 2, I'm dead to the next bolt. Turns out taking the time off to him to Turok might have cost me this game. Just being dead to bolt against Delver sucks, even if I do stabilize here. Did not shuffle, and Mystic Sanctuary puts Lightning Bolt on top of the deck. Cool. Do I have any out to that? I don't think so. Bloodchief Ascension isn't it. Brainstorm, and we're dead. Alright. I feel good about that game at 4 life, but we are at 2. Taking that turn off to him instead of just turtling up the board was the difference between winning and losing that game. If I cast Strix instead of him, I think that's an easy one. I tried to answer the Murktide before it showed up, but I also had a line to answer Murktide when it did show up. This is one of those ones that, you know, if you have perfect hindsight, it's great, but having a chance to take out 2 Murktides with 1 spell was too good. On to the next round. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structure tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. On the draw for round 3, there are some blue sources in my deck. I'm on the draw. I can do a bunch of stuff on 1 black. I'm going to mulligan though. I mean, this is also a 1-lander, but at least a cast Ponder. I'm going to keep and send one of the pushes to the bottom. Let's do it. Please don't be a Wasteland deck. Please don't be a Chalice of the Void deck. Oh my god. They are a Chalice of the Void deck, almost certainly. But let's Thoughtseize and take Chalice of the Void. How about that? Emery Force Thoughtcast. I cannot kill Emery cleanly with what's in my hand. I'm going to take her. It's a shame. Fetch land, I let them keep Emery. I take Thoughtcast. We're chilling. Either the Synod. They can Thoughtcast for all their mana. Alright, come on, Black Source. Let's get this hand back under control. Mishra's Bauble. Did you see a swamp? Please be a swamp. Shit. Okay. I think I want to Brainstorm here. If I miss, it's devastating, and my hand is fine. I'm going to Ponder. Okay. We did find both our next land and our only main deck answer to Chalice of the Void. Both of which I'm happy to see. Here's the Tomb we know about. Here's an Opal. 4 cards left. For 5. We can hardcast Force here. So just commit to zapping of Force of Will. We could also Brainstorm. Try to keep the party going. Alright, I'm going to Brainstorm, actually. If they're a Hull Breacher build of this, then they got me. Ugh. Okay. Other Brainstorm and Fatal Push can go back, and now we're just chilling for a minute. But if their best play with 4 cards in hand is hold up Force of Will, go, I'm not upset. And land go is once again the play. I'm just going to drop Strix. I don't mind if this gets forced, and I also am pretty happy if it resolves. It's the best of all worlds. Drawing a card with Spellbomb. Wow. They are in trouble over there. The hand is either full of lands that aren't Urza Saga or full of Force of Wills, and I think those are the only cards that they could be. Starting to draw lands now. And with 5 bad cards in their hand, I don't know that I'm ready to start pointing hymns at them. I'm just going to pass 2. We can both play this Force of Will game. Maybe they'll counter an end step 3-1 Borrower. That is kind of a real clock. Given the texture of how this game is unfolding, normally I would never just pulling out a 3-1 in the face of a Chalice of the Void matchup, but kind of feeling it here. And I am going to force their forest, pitching one of my Brainstorms. I just sense blood in the water and would like to kill them. And if they force me back, my Hymn to Trot gets them hellbent. Cool. This is a lot of good cards now. Attack you for 4. I think I'd like to Brainstorm now. If I find a Bloodchief this turn, we're in business. This is not a deck that is going to mess with my mana. I'll just keep the Force up for a turn cycle. And I can cast Ponder and see additional cards next turn. Ancient Tomb, Force of Will in the graveyard. Yeah, so their hand was lands and Force of Wills. But if they ever draw a Thought Monitor, they're just ripping off to the races. Another Ancient Tomb. Please don't Thought Monitor. Oh, we're Painter. This is fun. I will Fatal Push the shit out of that. Okay, if the last card in their hand is also Force of Will, then go ahead and cast it. Otherwise, I'm just going to kill this thing. Okay. I can't just hold up Force and attack for a turn. I like that better. I mean, I'm pushing damage against a deck with 2 Ancient Tombs. I know my next draw is Island, which isn't great, but I Hymn to Trot them to reduce their options. Ugh. This is a tough call, like the old, do you counter the tutor or counter what they get with it? Thoughtcast, if it draws 2 Thoughtcasts, we're in so much trouble that I just want to restrict that. Now I can Ponder. Let's find a Zur's Weirding and end the game. Not a thing that's said very often in Magic, but it is currently true. That's not Zur's Weirding, but it's a ton of dope cards. It's a Baleful Strix with Search for Azcanta under it, and I can cast all of it. And we have already found Azcanta. We just don't know it yet. And I am dropping my land. I have a mana sink now. Next turn I'll have Azcanta. And let's go. Don't Painter Grindstone me from your hand right now. Lotus Petal, okay. I hope that's not the difference. Like whatever 9 mana card was in their hand and make it 10. Swamp into the graveyard. Yes, I'd like to flip Azcanta. Land in my hand. They haven't seen anything super weird yet. Like Search for Azcanta is not a normal legacy card, but they haven't seen a Zur's Weirding. And if I draw it here, I'm going to play it because, alright, Zur's Weirding for the hard lock. This actually does just end the game, so I'm going to play it. I'll let them know that that's what I'm doing, if it means I've 100% won the game. Let's get weird. Hell yeah. Is there a more iconic duo than Zur's Weirding and an opponent smashing the concede button? Okay, Powder Keg and Null Rod step on each other a little bit, but they are both great in the matchup. Press Down, Back to Basics are all cards I'm interested in. This is Painter, and it's 8 cast. Opposition Agent can mess with Saga Pops, but otherwise doesn't do a whole lot. Ashiok in the same kind of range. Plague Engineer, if they pivot onto a size strategy, it's really hard to beat a bunch of Thopters. Okay, I think 2 is probably the right number of Weirdings. I talked about that in the deck tech, but or maybe it's fine to just go ham in game 1 and shave in game 2. That's the thing I frequently talk about on the channel. Liliana, are you good in this matchup? The plus is tough. Like all of the discard effects, the Hymn to Trot and Liliana, Thoughtseize is great because it always just gets the best card no matter how many they have, but Hymn to Trot and Lily are a lot worse against decks that are looping baubles with Emery or cast 2 Thoughtcasts and then they just have cards to discard when I might not. I think Liliana is not where I want to be in this matchup. I'm bringing in a bunch of other powerful 3-drops that are better for what we're doing here. I like the Force. Fatal Push, knowing that they're a Painter deck. I think I can get a little skinnier on Bloodchief Ascension. Do I want both Back to Basics? Do I want Ashiok? I think I can live without Ashiok. I have Oppo, which is the more powerful version in this matchup. Sometimes the Graveyard Hate is better, and the Search is mostly the same. I get the thing off Oppo, obviously, so it's slightly better at searching. Ashiok is has built-in graveyard hate. I like search. Running out of time here. I'll cut a fatal push. No, they're a painter deck. What am I doing? Cut a force. Get fatal push back in. Okay. This is the way. Or as close to the way as I'm going to get. Alright, I mean, I'm good against a turn 2 Emery. I'm not great against a turn 1 Emery. Haywire Might. Oh no. They have the tech for Zer's Weirding. And I have the Zer's Weirding. What a cruel existence. Haywire Might is also the tech for Sudden Edict. Yep, there is Emery. Carefully insulated with a Haywire Might. Shadow Spirit, Lotus Petal are the artifacts in the graveyard. And if I Edict them, they can cast Haywire Might from their graveyard. Perfectly insulated. A brutal scenario. And you can Thought cast it. Okay, yeah. We're getting nut drawn. It happens. Maybe I'll just draw Null Rod. We're fine. Alright, show me the Null Rod. Brainstorm. Is that better than Baleful Strix? Strix is not a high impact card here. I'm going to Brainstorm because Zer's Weirding is already covered on the board. I need a potent sideboard card now. I found the Fatal Push and the Powder Keg. That's what we're talking about. Put back. Well, now I have so many lands in my hand. Maybe I don't put back the Weirding. Putting back Basic Swamp for sure. And I keep Weirding around. I don't think that I do. No. Unfortunate, but this Haywire Might, I don't intend to spend any effort killing it specifically. And fetch, push, Emery. This is the first hump we had to get over. If they have force, they have force. Powder Keg kills Seed of the Synod, Mox Opal, and Lotus Petal next turn. Thought Monitor, tilt. I hope they dump out another artifact plan and a Lotus Petal. Play around discard by playing into Powder Keg. Drop it out. Drop it out. Yes. Didn't want another Emery to go with it. We had a deal opponent. Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. Well, they have a draw engine now, and turns out I would have liked Ashiok. If I Keg now, they can start replaying the artifacts, but it is a pretty big beating. I could also just dress down in my end step and take another turn of development. Maybe that's what I want to do. Emery is a huge problem. Okay, Oppo's here. They can't Thought Monitor, they can't Emery this turn. I mean, they can Thought Monitor, but it won't draw cards. If they play Painter, it won't get to name a color. They can also just pass the turn, and we're hanging out. Okay, pass the turn, hang out is the plan. Now they're dressed down. I could keep this party going. This party's not even good, though. But if I Powder Keg and dress down, that's a little more interesting. This might draw a force. They didn't play any cards last turn. Good chance they have counter magic. Alright, dope. Just gonna Keg right now. That kills 4 of their permanents. Their floating mana may or may not actually have a spell, but they might as well do it. And I'll pass my priority and see what they do with this. They're drawing a card with Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. And then second main, I'm going to end step the dress down again. Swamp, Island. Or I could Strix this turn and start to work through their permanents. Maybe that's better. I did just take all of their blue sources out of the game. Okay, found a Fatal Push. That answers Emery next turn. Let's get moving here. Do have a blue source and 1 artifact to turn it on. Emery represents all sorts of stuff, so not like that's for freezies. Oh, they have 2 artifacts. I forgot Thought Monitor. Uh-oh, am I dead? If Painter's in their hand, I lose. They just put a green in the pool and then backed it off. I think they tried to exile my Strix with Haywire Might. Cool. Haywire Might's answered. And I'm going to fetch for basic... Nope, Underground Sea. Fetch for Underground Sea. It'll push Emery. I just have so many black pips in my hand right now that it's worth stepping on my own back to basics a little bit. Emery's gone. And I have Oppo Sudden Edict available. Okay, we are grinding back into this. I think I just Edict this thing. Probably not getting better. I can dress down a Painter. Okay, we have pass the turn with all of these cards available to us. I have Urza's Saga super covered between Dress Down and Opposition Agent, and that was their draw for the turn. Second Grindstone, you got it. And I'm going to Oppo now. I want to start attacking. They're on this Ancient Tomb mana base. Let's go. If Force Blue card are the last two cards in their hand, I have the Saga covered. Oh, they can hardcast a Force. But they pitch cast it anyway. Cool. Okay. I'll be dressing down this Saga in the near future. I have the next Emery covered. I have Sai covered. Anything else they could do? I have Painter covered. Nullrod is in my deck somewhere. Brainstorm, let's go. Look it up, buddy. Ooh, Bloodchief Ascension. I'm going to put back Fatal Push and Sudden Edict. I'm going to play my land and play Bloodchief Ascension. If they ever tap an Ancient Tomb, we're ascending. And I can decide if I want Sudden Edict or not. There's a construct. I am going to keep Sudden Edict around. I'm going to let Saga resolve. It's more likely they get Shadow Spear here than Pithing Needle. Okay, they got a Wobble. They just want cards real bad. Dress Down. They can't hardcast Force here. Those are gone. I get my Edict back. I am going to shuffle away the Fatal Push. They bobble me, see Fatal Push. They fetch, I don't want it. I will keep getting basics. Back to Basics is in my deck somewhere. Nullrod's in my deck somewhere. There's Weirding's in my deck somewhere. Urborg, I'm not playing that. I'll chill out on it. I can answer any spell and also a creature. That one's trouble. I've used both my Dress Downs and my Powder Keg. I have to go through that one the old-fashioned way. Brainstorm, help me out here. There's Weirding Nullrod, what's up? Okay, put back Urborg, Sudden Edict. And I'm going to Zer's Weirding Nullrod with Force Backup and a removal spell on top of my deck. Brazen Borrower is the card in their hand. That's a pretty good one. But I have Force Backup. By Nullrodding, they're going to have to tap Ancient Tomb to use their Saga. That turns on my Ascension. I'm going to force the heck out of this Brazen Borrower. Petty Theft my Nullrod. Force of Will. I might still lose to these constructs, but I'm going to do the thing here. I hope I don't have to spend too much life on their draw steps. Painter's Servant. I'm not going to pay life because Nullrod's in play, and if they tap Ancient Tomb to cast this card, that accelerates the Ascension. I have Sudden Edict on top of my deck that they will probably pay to get rid of. And that already puts them in the life hole, so they can... Yeah, I'm actually just dead on board. Bummer. I needed them to cast the Painter. So I don't even think that does it. Yeah, I'm just dead. Okay, we're dead. Close. I used all my sideboard cards. They had a lot of Emerys that game that I needed to work through. Ashiok's coming in. That lets me care less about Emery. I do have all my Fatal Pushes. All my Edicts are in. Maybe Hymn to Turok should chill out. Let's go. I'll keep this hand. Island Ponder, plus removal spells. So it's only a removal spell if I find another fetch land off my Ponder. But I know the matchup. I'm ready to do this. Bonus on a Mull of 5. We take those. Island Ponder. Thoughtseize and Sudden Edict. Interesting. These are all good cards, but they're not lands, which is what I really wanted. I think I'll take Thoughtseize and Ponder. That lets me double spell next turn. And I can Ponder for a fetch land if they play Emery. Saga, Bauble, Opal. Shit. This might be a turn 1 Emery. It was not a turn 1 Emery. Okay. I'm going to Thoughtseize this 2-card hand that they have. And hope I don't see 2 lands in it. Thoughtcast is gone. Ancient Tomb is in. Ponder. Land, Sudden Edict. I don't want this other Thoughtseize, but I do want the land, and I don't hate the Edict. Okay. I'll keep this stuff. They just saw Sudden Edict with their bauble. There's the Tomb, and me without a Bloodchief Ascension. Sad. Sad times. Oh god, what is this? Oh, they're just main phasing. That turns on Opal. They might have found a Thoughtcast. But they found a Painter. Sure. That's pretty good too. Yeah, they know I have Sudden Edict. That's why they did it that way. They don't know that I have Fatal Push. I'm going to brainstorm here. A Force blue card, I'm not mad about. I'm definitely keeping the land. They can put back a Weirding and a Strix. A Weirding and Strix go back. Play my land. And I'm going to wait for them to pass priority on their floating mana off the Saga. Like, I want them to not make the second construct. Okay, right here. This is the window I was looking for. Fatal Push the Painter. Now they're committed to searching and not making another thing. I guess I could have waited for them to activate Grindstone also, like search for and then activate Grindstone. But I don't want to get in a situation where they're just attacking me for 5 a turn and holding up 3 mana, and I have to act first. Oh, Grindstone from hand, sure. I'll force the next Painter if that's the last card in their hand. Sure. Force blue card. Opponent's Hellbent, and I can kill their 4/4. Or I can put Strix in front of it. It's also pretty good. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to use a spell on this when I can just block it while drawing a card. That's the Weirding, and I'm through the Brainstorm now. Okay. Their thing's bigger. They remain Hellbent. They know I'm holding Sudden Edict and still didn't attack. Ponder. Let's find some action. Rest down and Game Ender. Okay. Draw for turn. And I am going to start attacking. I'm going to end step Dress Down. That freezes any Painters or Emeries they would draw, but still does everything I want to do as far as removing the 5/5. They are grindstoning me. That's pretty smart. I did just put Ashiok there. It was good for 4 cards because they shared a color. Just the slow grind. Slow grind's not a great long-term strategy, but it did mess up my Ponder. Oh, what's up? Speaking of messing up people's everything. They have 1 card in their hand. They didn't play a land. It's some uncastable spell. I'm just going to check their hand for Force of Will. There it is. And then I'm going to Powder Keg all of their permanents except for Grindstone and Ancient Tomb out of play. Pop. They're going to Grindstone me one more time on the way through. Go ahead, have a look. They milled a Bloodchief Ascension. And now the Baleful Strix beatdown begins. I need them to not draw Urza's Saga. That is the card that messes me up. Seat of the Synod is fine. It does let them keep grindstoning, but that's not going to win the race because they have to tap Ancient Tomb to do it now. Pretty real cost. Yeah, they're not even doing it at the cost of 2 life. I have the next creature answered. I can Weirding this turn from higher life than them and pushing damage. I think we're going to get a Weirding lock. I'm going to Ponder first. I'll just grab an extra removal spell. Put you to less life than me with fewer cards in hand and Ancient Tomb as your only big mana source. You can gaze upon my hand of 2 Sudden Edicts and then die. I don't care about Mox Opal. And we're done. Zer's Weirding for the win. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the draw, in round 4, we've got an Island Ponder Keep situation. Island Swamp Sorcerer Scant to keep. Count it. Hope this is a creature deck, not a spell deck. Opponent said they're a fan of the channel. I appreciate it. I'm going to show you a basic island of Misty Rainforest and Ponder, and hope that you get lulled into a false sense of security, immediately BTFO'd by fetching Island, but I'm still going to keep this Hymn to Turok. It'll be good eventually. I have Urborg in my hand. I'm all set up. I thought about this in deck building. Too good. Snow-covered forest. Alright, so we're some kind of soup deck. Firing off random Hymn to Turoks against probable Uro decks is always a source of concern, but I didn't put this card in my deck not to cast it. Just hope we don't get main deck Veil of Summer out of Omni Show or something. I expect a Coatl here and then him to resolve. That's what I think is going to happen. Coatl. And him resolved. Tropical Island Wasteland hit the graveyard. We're a Loam deck, I guess. Non-Loam decks don't usually play Wasteland, or non-Loam blue decks. Did not discard a Loam or an Uro. Those are good newses. But if they go land Loam here and pick up 3 cards, we have to figure out a new strategy quickly. I also just said the phrase good news is out loud. What the hell is wrong with me? Those are pieces of good news. They had another Wasteland. I am built with Wasteland in mind, so this shouldn't be a huge deal. I'm going to search for his Gandalf of Basic here. We have still only seen through both play and discard blue and green mana. Possible there's some sort of Simic tempo happening here, but I suspect we're going to see white at some point. This is probably a Prismatic Ending deck. I would like to get at least 1 trigger off my search if I can. Yep, there's the white. I do have the cool play available to me of, in response to search trigger, Fatal Push the snake and then bin whatever's on top of my deck and immediately get the extra land. Let's see if I'm rewarded for this aggression. Oh, Endurance. Pitching Uro. Wow, I get like a 3-for-1 or 3-for-0 out of this exchange. That's even better than flipping Search for Escanta. Let's go. Sudden Edict can go into the graveyard. I'm holding Liliana. I'm not really in the market for another removal spell. I am in the market for a Thoughtseize and a Zur's Weirding. Put back Underground Sea and... Or wait, I can put back Misty and Delta. And then Thoughtseize off Underground Sea and keep all the spells. Yeah, that's how we do it. 2 cards left. Hope there's not another Uro among them. There is another Uro among them. I'm going to take the Brainstorm, and they can do the front half of Uro, but they need 2 lands before this cashes out. Because one of them is a Plains that they have currently. Not good at casting Uro, historically speaking. Do have one of the lands they wanted. I can bin one of the lands with Search and draw the other one. I don't even have to work through it. I think I just fetch Underground Sea in case they draw Wasteland. No, I'm sticking with basics. I feel like I could get punished at some point if I don't. And I have Search for Escanta, so I have an engine on, and they don't have an engine on. They have way more life than me, but I'm hoping that Search does what it needs to do here. Ice Fang Coatl is the card in their hand. Well, that makes Search, or that makes the Weirding a little worse right away. Prismatic Ending. I am going to pay 2 life to stop that, because that ruins my Search for Escanta, which I just explained is the thing that I have going for me right now. Okay, opponent. My top card is Brazen Borrower. I am going to keep it, and they'll... Or, no, I need to... I'm just going to bin it, because they're not going to let me keep it anyway, and I need to get Search for Escanta going. I guess I could have brainstormed in my upkeep to make sure that happened. But why'd they pay 2 life to take Turok? I don't care about their hand at all. Okay, Liliana of the Veil is going to come into play. And I'm going to plus her, and they're going to cast Coatl in response. And then after they draw a card with Coatl, I'm going to cast Brainstorm. Because with Zur's Weirding, if they pay for one of the Brainstorm cards, I lose my Liliana. They're drawing Swords of Plowshares. I'm not going to pay 2 life for that. I'm going to cast Brainstorm and see if they want to pay for any of these things. Verdant Catacombs is revealed. I get that one. I get Brainstorm. And the third Zer's Weirding. Okay, I'm going to put back Brainstorm and Zer's Weirding in that order. And I'm going to discard Catacombs. And then search for Azcanta, can bin the redundant Weirding and flip into Azcanta next turn. Liliana can kill Icefang Coatl. They can keep their Terminus. I don't really plan on having creatures in play this game. And they're going for my life total. Probably smart. Azcanta is going to put Zer's Weirding into the graveyard. I am going to flip it. They'll probably pay life. Or no, they don't have to pay life on the Brainstorm. They can wait until I cast the Brainstorm if they understand how Zer's Weirding works. Which is a big if. It's a weird card. They did pay 2 life on the Brainstorm. Kill your snake. And pass the turn. Search for Azcanta is happening. Prismatic Ending. I guess I do have to pay 2 life on this. I don't know if they have a 4th color, is the problem. And if they can remove Weirding, I'm in trouble. I don't really want them to remove Liliana either. Second search. That's actually fine, because the front half has a different name than the back half, so the legendary business doesn't matter. Helpful Strix, probably a card you want to pay for. That attacks and blocks. Search for Azcanta plus Liliana. Strip your Terminus. And we're back to chilling. Sylvan Library, Jesus. That's a weird one. That I will pay 2 life to stop. Search for Azcanta, trigger. Buddha Delta into the graveyard. Do not flip this one. Draw for turn is Ponder. What do you think about that? Take it away. And I'm going to plus Lily and then dig now, because if I find Ascension, that's what I'm looking for. And we did it. The hooks are in. I'm at 6. I need these hooks to work. And they did lose 2 life because they paid for my draw step. I'm not going to fight over a Force of Will. And now we should be able to take it over. Search trigger. Now I want scary cards on top. To Turok into the graveyard is not a good one. Underground Sea, they're not going to fight over. That's fine with me. Now I just hit a land drop plus Lily. Activate. Found a Fatal Push. Ponder, not fighting over that. I'll let them cast it, and then I'll fight over what they get out of it. If I care. There's not a lot that I care about. Life from the Loam. Yikes. I may care a little bit about that. But I'm not going to pay 2 life to put it in the graveyard where they want it. They can have a handful of lands, whatever. The Wastelands will take out Search, but this is not super long-term strategy. Or maybe I needed to pay 2 life to get 1 more Search activation. Yeah, slight concern. Life from the Loam, great find. Taking out Azcanta. I do have another one ready to flip. I'll figure out this display in a second. It's crazy. I will leave Ponder on top and hope that they pay 2 life for it. Did pay 2 life for it. And activate Search. If I find him to Turok here. Alright, I found Ponder. Cast one of these. Siphon Life is in the mix. Let's go. I'm not going to shuffle. Are going to lose 2 life, whether you like it or not. Siphon Life is in my hand. Each player discards a card. I'll dump my Fatal Push. They already paid 2 life this turn. I can siphon them next turn. They discarded Wasteland. Dredging is not drawing. So if they dredge Loam, I don't get to Zer them. But I'm going to siphon their life and turn on Bloodchief Ascension next turn, in which case, good luck. Oh, they didn't dredge. Wait, what is happening? Is the game broken? What the fuck? It just keeps asking me if I want to put Brainstorm into BoshNRoll's graveyard. Why would this happen? Did we break the game? I'm taking a screenshot, and then I'm gonna pay 2 life and see if that does something different. Okay, weird. It was not letting me decline to pay 2. Okay, I didn't like that. I think we're still gonna win, and at least we didn't freeze the game. They can cast Uro here that I don't care about because Liliana can minus on him, and then I Siphon Life you, and we're out of here. Uro does do a lot. I am not going to pay 2 for Icefang Coatl if it doesn't make me. Oh my god. Alright, the game's broken. I have to pay. Well, I mean, my hooks are in, but we are playing for free here. I can win this game at exactly 4 life, paying 2 once in a while. You sack a creature, and I'll siphon your life, and we are in the lock. Weird. Now I just pay for every card they're going to draw. If they start dredging, they lose 6, I gain 6. Yeah, let's go. And they're done after that. Okay. I have concerns now that Zer's Weirding does not work on Magic Online. Ashiok and Oppo look great here. Turok looks great here. Nullrod, Powder Keg, Torpor Orb, not so much. Plague Engineer on Snake is not nothing, but I don't think it's really where I want to be either. And I don't think I want Flusters. I don't think I want Dress Downs. They have enough basics to support Icefang Coatl. I don't think I'm going to try to back to basics them. Surgical is reasonable if they're an Uro deck versus my Hymn to Turok deck. The classic matchup. Exactly what you're looking for when you register Hymn to Turok in a deck. I think I want fewer Sudden Edicts. They don't have a whole lot of creatures, and they have snakes to absorb the edicts. I like my Fatal Pushes. I like battling the snakes face-to-face with Baleful Strix. And Weirding is actually kind of nuts here. I don't know that I want to cut one. I could just go off Sudden Edict entirely. I have the Liliana's Fatal Pushes and blockers. Yeah, I'll do it like that. This hand's pretty cool. I don't like that they're a Wasteland deck, but I am going to keep Ashiok complete beating. Ashiok Game Ender. Probably going to Ponder here, unless it's Carpet of Flowers. Okay, that land does not cast Carpet of Flowers. I'm very interested in Thoughtseize or Basic Island out of my deck here. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Liliana, okay. Basic land, go. They have some sort of 2-drop, probably Sylvan Library. That's a card that is not beatable. But I'm going to try. Oh, Life from the Loam. That one is more beatable, but also a problem. Strongly prefer that to the Sylvan Library. I'll drop Search for Azcanta over Baleful Strix. Azcanta does more over time, and if they play a white source to answer Search this turn, then they're not playing Wasteland. Cool. Alright, we're in there with Search. I'm just going to bin Ponder. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. I was looking for the land straight up. And Ponder helps find the land, but take my big swing there. They could hardcast Force of Negation right now. Liliana sucks against Light from the Loam. I think I want to play Strix because I'm worried about Endurance just clearing my Ashiok. I'm worried about Force of Negation hardcast. Hull Breacher, that one's an asshole too. Okay, I mean, that happens. They get 1 treasure. If they Days Undo me, I'm wrecked. I have not had a permanent leave the battlefield this turn. Ooh, if they Wasteland me, I can help. I can Fatal Push. Somehow, in exchange, I'm not totally distraught about. End-step Fatal Push this jerk. If they spend a counterspell on this, it's a counterspell they don't have for Ashiok. But I should fully expect to get my day undone in the near future. Very interested in hitting a land right now. Brainstorm into the graveyard, obviously, and Siphon Life. Okay. We're just going to chill and hope they never draw Days Undoing. There's a snake that pushes for damage. That also beats my Liliana. That was my next answer to Hull Breacher. If they attack with Snake, I am going to trade for it. God. Yeah, we're the full Days Undoing business here. I would not have cut a Force of Will if I saw any of this in game 1. Using the Ponder they found right away. They dredged Loam, milling Uro. I need to spike a land in my top 2 cards right now. Ponder is not a land on deck. Oh my god. Alright, they get to Uro me next turn. Then what happens? Then I lose. Okay, I'm going to save time. We have failed to deliver this game. We're boarded completely wrong because we didn't see this whole combo in the first game. Force of Will's back. Sudden Edict is back in some quantity. Zur's weirding. I can back off of that. And maybe it's an Ascension. Just try to play my normal cards with some extra hooks in. Like Engineer on Snake does make my Sudden Edicts a lot more potent. I don't think I'm going to do that though. Dress Down can turn off Hull Breacher, but whatever. Okay. Oops, I just hit submit on 61 cards. Too late. I will keep this hand, Island Ponder. Bant Days Undoing Loam with multiple Wastelands. I'm kind of into that. I'm not into this no lander. I shuffle that Ponder. There's another land. Another land that gets wasted. But at least it's another land. Okay, just hope to fade Wasteland. Play my Ascension, and then Ashiok Game Ender can show up next turn. Please force this. Oh my god, that would be so nice. They pause to read it, and then let it resolve. Under in the end step. What I don't want is Wasteland plus Prismatic Ending. It would be okay with one or the other of those things. Search for Azcanta. Do I want to get my Liliana hooks in? No, I'm going to chuck Ashiok onto the stack while I can. Yeah, they paused on my card last turn, so not surprising they have an answer here. And they have a snake. If I draw the land and can slam Zur's Weirding, we actually have the loop. But now they're Prismatic Ending. Bummer. Alright, fine. Not allowed to have any fun. Thought this was America. I'm gonna Ponder rather than Liliana, because if they have a second snake, we just lose. I can Force of Will, protect myself next turn. I could take the land Liliana plus, and then not even mess with the minus, and then I Force of Will under it for next turn. I'm gonna go with that. I think the plus loses the Force of Will under this. Is that even good? I didn't plan this out the whole way. Zur's Weirding is where I want to get the game to. I think I dump Brazen Borrower here. If they discard Loam or Uro, we're going to feel bad. Swords of Plowshares, feel good. And End Step Snake, that's why I didn't minus Liliana. This does mean they can attack Lily to 2, where if she minuses, she only kills 1 of the snakes, then dies to just having no loyalty. Hard to get loyalty out of a Planeswalker who worships demons. Oh, good. Our last cards in hand were Narset with enough left over to leave up Wasteland. Great. There's Weirding, forget about it. Search for Azcanta is going to have to happen here. Prismatic Ending, so Liliana's dead next turn anyway, but they didn't waste me. So I can Weird here and hold up Force Blue card. And then play Search for Azcanta next turn if I don't have to force. But I know they're going to be holding this Prismatic Ending forever. I think I just have to shove this card onto the stack. My god, their hand is so good. And having 2 snakes, and I'm just going to kill one of them. Oh, this is a nightmare matchup. Game 1 looked pretty good, and then it went to shit quickly. Not going to deny them Misty Rainforest. Narset doesn't care what I think about with my Zur's Weirding. Ponder does. There's the library. I don't think I can afford to force that. I need to put Search for Azcanta. Then they have Prismatic Ending, but I'm losing to Icefang Quaddle anyway. Yeah, that early Prismatic Ending taking my Bloodchief Ascension is going to end me. Fight from the Loam. I am not going to fight over you drawing that. I don't want to put it in your graveyard for you. Played a land, did not play Loam. Draws Brainstorm. They probably are not going to pay 2. Oh, wow. All right. No options at all. Narset in play. fuck your Brainstorm, is what they said. Which is the right call, because I would have protected my search for Azcanta with my forced blue card. And now I have to click through. Oh my god. Uro is a draw for Sylvan Library. Uro is draw for turn. Sylvan Library trigger is still yet to resolve. Not paying for Veil of Summer and not paying for Misty Rainforest. They didn't keep the Veil or the Misty. They kept the Uro. Wasteland. Now they can loam, make their land drop, play Uro, go again. We're not winning this game. We can get out of here. This lined up extremely well. The second Coatl, keeping Liliana from play, the prismatic endings. I knew those would be a problem for the deck, but respecting the Bloodchief Ascension before it's too late, paying the 2 to keep Brainstorm out of my hand, even though they had Narset, which would have been a blue card for Forest that protects Search, which maybe gets me back into this game. That was a nightmare. And they got the totally free game in game 2 after not revealing their A Days Undoing deck in game 1. Just crush me. Okay, final round coming. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. We're on the draw in round 5. Positive record on the line. We're already playing for free because we found a bug. I suspect Magic Online, and I'm not a coder of any kind, but I suspect what was happening is Magic Online replaced my opponent's draw with Zur's Weirding trigger, and then Magic Online tried to replace the draw with the option to dredge Loam, which then re-triggered, wait, is a card being drawn? How about Zur's Weirding? I suspect that's what the problem was. I don't know what my opponent's doing yet. I am going to cast Brainstorm, though. I have Thoughtseize in my deck. I can try to find out. And I'm going to put back... Oh, I do have Chief and Weirding. And 4 lands to do it all. And Force to back it up. I think I'm going to put this Weirding away. And this non-basic land away. And then I'm going to Ponder again here. It's going to keep playing basics. I don't know what they're up to. Liliana of the Veil and access to basic Swamp. I'm going to shuffle this. I want Thoughtseize or Hymn to Turok, not Liliana right now. Tundra, Flooded Strand, pass the turn. I just don't think this is going to be a big removal spell matchup. And because their hand still has 7 cards in it, just plussing Liliana one time and getting Prismatic Ending is not exciting either. I'm going to Brainstorm. I have plenty of bad cards I can get rid of. There's Hymn to Turok. Okay. Plans coming together. I put back Island and this extra Brainstorm. I think I'm cool on Brainstorms now. I'm going to play Baleful Strix this turn, and then Hymn to Turok them next turn, and then start actually executing my plan. It'll push, probably not going to find a lot of targets here, whatever they're doing, unless Hullbreacher is involved. I can force once. I have 2 forces, but only 1 blue card. There are a lot of big, stupid blue-white decks in the format right now. I'm going to force Pitching Force. If they force back, my force doesn't work anyway. And without a second blue card, I don't get a lot of action there. Ponder. Zur's Weirding is now in the mix. Liliana's also in the mix. If my Hymn resolves, I'm pretty interested in Liliana. Okay, I am going to draw the C, and I'm just going to draw through all of these cards. Hymn to Turok, let's have a peek. Another Teferi and Marshflats at the graveyard. I can Liliana plus play Bloodchief Ascension next turn. Oh, but Weirding is under and I'd have to fetch, so maybe I wait. Oh, your Cephalid Breakfast. Suddenly, Fatal Push looks okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm still playing Liliana, and I can lose one of these pushes. A push, you lose a Scalding Tarn, and then I can Weirding plus Ascension plus activate Liliana next turn. But if they happen to be holding the Cephalid, that line loses the game all by itself. I could play Weirding now. Bummer, like 1 card short of this actually being good. It's Urza Saga, sack of crap, as it tends to be. Maybe I play Zur's Weirding this turn, hold up Fatal Push, don't activate Liliana, and we can rock out. I'd like to see your hand before I make any decisions with my life. If they don't have Cephalid in their hand, I can plus Liliana, discard Fatal Push, because then I can weird away any Cephalid they draw, and I don't care about it as much. Their Saga tokens, I can block with Strix minus Liliana, and we're done there. Unless they need a Liliana. Oh, we'll find out together. If their hand is like Force Cephalid, which it friggin' is, okay. I'm gonna plus and discard Bloodchief Ascension, because I have to or else I lose. Okay, they will not end up with Force Blue card here. They will end up with Cephalid plus Shuko. But I basically pay 2 on any card they would draw. Or that's not true, I don't care about like lands. Figuring out where to put all these windows where they don't look distracting. Narcomoeba. Oh my god. Does this trigger? I think it does. I have to pay 2 life. Pain in my ass. Okay. I just can't let them have Force Blue card here. That's so freaking stupid. Oh my god. I'm becoming the Joker. I'm gonna fetch for Underground Sea and let all these things transpire. They did get Shuko. We're gonna ram that into Baleful Strix. World's easiest block. But if they don't get Antsy here, they are gonna be able to stabilize and win. Swamp. That's actually great, because that lets me plus Liliana 3-4. If I minus Liliana, they sack Narco, and then I just lose. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna plus Liliana, discard my Swamp. I think she just needs to tread water until they get impatient, but I am almost checkmated here. Well, that's not true. The Illusionist gets discarded next turn if they don't run it out. They can attack Liliana for 4. I'm not going to pay 2 on a Force of Will. They don't have a blue card, though now it doesn't get discarded anymore. Oh, this is hard. This is brain melting. I think I had to pay 2. Yeah, now they win instead of lose. I had to pay the 2. That was so bad. I mapped out this whole plan. I even said it out loud. Just moving Shuko's back and forth. Okay. Liliana goes to 2, and then they can pay 2 on anything, and then I lose. Because I didn't pay 2 first. So foolish. I'm still behind and losing the shit out of this game. Oh good, they went for it. I needed this. Hitting that stupid Narcomoeba just is the whole game. Like, if their top card on that last turn is just anything except Narcomoeba, Liliana stabilizes here. They hit another Narcomoeba, and we're just going to lose to Narcomoeba beats now. So friggin' stupid. I don't think I have any outs left. Like, I'm minus Liliana here, and then I'm locked under my own Zer's weirding. Great. They have more life than me, and they're pressuring. Good, good. We had a good time here. All right. Randomly, 1 Narcomoeba killed me. That's always what I like to do in a game of Magic. I'm not as mad as I sound right now. I'm just... if that was any other card. Okay, we're against Breakfast. Torpor Orb, Dress Down. I don't like Back to Basics. Turok is good against some of the stuff they do. Nullrod is good against some of the stuff they do, but not good against some of the other stuff. Zer's Weirding, cut one of those. Siphon Life, cut one of those. This engine is cute. It mattered once, but I don't think it should be in the deck. I think we should have 2 Weirdings and no Siphon Life if we're starting to optimize this. We're in the hilarious world where we're trying to optimize Zer's Weirding and Legacy. This is my job. I'm at work right now, and that's what I'm talking about. All my black cards are good. Even Baleful Strix. Maybe Liliana's mid. I'm just bringing in other powerful 3-drops for the matchup. I like some Liliana, but them being able to just float Shuko and play, and as long as they have more cards in hand than me, they'll eventually... I'll run out before them, and then they can win with impunity. I don't really like that. 1 more card's gotta go. Torpor Orb steps on my Strixes a little bit, but if I have Torpor Orb in play, I'm not that upset about the situation. Oh, these surgical extractions are just still here in my grave, in my sideboard too. Oh, that's a lot more I need to do. Okay, I'm cutting another Zer's Weirding. Just gonna try to play blue-black control against the combo deck. I like Liliana more if I'm committing to blue-black control. Baleful Strix is a little worse. Fatal Push is good. 1 Ascension, 1 Weirding. Okay, I haven't boarded out the whole thing. I'm into this. 1 Weirding in the deck and it's in my hand. This is how we draw it up. This opponent is not going to wasteland me. Go straight for Underground Sea. Show me your thoughts. I'd like to seize them. Illusionist, Therapy, Force of Will. I'm going to take the Illusionist. That's just the card that does the thing. They did have the turn 2 Goldfish with, with Force of Will backup. Glad we could collapse it. I think I would have lost the game if they forced that Thoughtseize. Like, why do you keep this hand if you're not going to force a Thoughtseize? That's the same as forcing a Fatal Push on your combo turn. And they let on Island, so they're not running the Nomads out. Now I just have nothing to worry about. Cool. It turns out they were right to let Thoughtseize resolve. Edict would have blown them into the dirt. Baleful Strix, go get them. Start attacking. Game Ender. Ashiok actually doesn't even end the game against this particular Graveyard combo deck. They do it all at once, if they're doing it at all. They do Blind Therapy me here. Don't think they're going to name any of the cards that I actually have. And then Ashiok can get some action. Liliana of the Veil. Close. It's Ashiok Game Ender. The bad news is they're back up to 3 mana, which represents the combo. And I think in this world, I want to cast Ponder instead of Ashiok. Find a Thoughtseize, immediately get rewarded. No shuffle, blue to Delta, Thoughtseize you. If they have reassembled their combo with Force backup, then they're good to go. I'm going to take Nomads. Maybe I'm supposed to take Force here, but I don't have an answer to the combo this turn anyway. That's an Urza Saga. I believe I am shuffling here. Another Strix. I could just jam Ashiok, get the Force out of their hand, or I could spend a turn digging for more discard. I think I'm interested in that. Because Ashiok denying them the Shuko tutor is a big deal. Right, Zer's Weirding. And I'm drawing all these cards anyway, so Torpor Orb, Zer's Weirding, Baleful Strix. They can't combo off through a Torpor Orb. If they have Illusionist, they're good to go. Next turn, this Force of Will is still looming over the game. And maybe with Sudden Edict in my hand, I'm supposed to take Force of Will and just hope they don't 3-outer me. Okay. Time to Torpor Orb. This one at least leaves up Sudden Edict. Force pitching Narco. Okay, pretty please don't have Cephalid Illusionist in your hand. Or if you do, pretty please get greedy and Cabal Therapy me. Okay, this is it. Did you 3-outer me in the 2 turns since I saw your hand? Moving pretty quick here. Smashing off fetch lands. Spending mana on something. Red return on the hard cast. Yeah, I mean, that works. Should have taken the Force. Alright. You did it. I messed that one up. I had multiple other... I played scared of what if they top deck Illusionist when they had the answer for my answer in their hand, and like I played to guaranteed another draw rather than playing to win, and then they can't beat me anymore. I threw that one in the trash. Okay. This deck, if we're going to rebuild it, it should have only 2 Weirdings, and maybe Siphon Life is too cute. Bloodchief Ascension was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Though I think we need to interact like a normal Legacy deck just a little bit more than we are. The little change I'm going to make is +1 Brazen Borrower. That's just an interactive thing that can also attack for 3. This deck's pretty bad at attacking at current. And I'm pivoting 1 or drop for another. Shieldred was a card that I considered in my first run at this deck. I just wanted to go more combo first, but now having seen it in practice, it's really important to have more life than your opponent when Zer's Weirding hits. And Shieldred, she triggers Bloodchief Ascension on the fair and square, and she gets you ahead for when the Weirding hits. She's also immune to Pyroblast, a thing they need to respect. People can't just cut all their creature removal against you if you have Shieldred. I think this is a step in the right direction, just that little change. And I am going to leave the third Ascension for now. I think you could play 2, but with Shieldred, that gives you another real way to trigger it and get that thing grinding. Because Ascension will win a game on its own. You just have to stay alive long enough, and your opponent will eventually die. That's not totally true of Zer's Weirding. You do need to be ahead on this one. And it's kind of awkward that the 1 mana spell in our combo is more efficient on rate and does more than the 4 mana spell in our combo. For that reason, I'll leave that as more. And that's where I'm going to leave this deck. Lux Ferris, thank you for asking me to play Zer's Weirding. Everybody, if you play this deck, be careful of bugs with Dredge. Apparently that's a thing. We are going to get comped for this league, so count it as a freebie. I hope this was fun, though, and it was definitely informative. Learned a lot about how to play with Zer's Weirding. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.